Egyptian Arabic is the language spoken by most contemporary Egyptians. It is more commonly known locally as the Egyptian colloquial language or Egyptian dialect. Look below for local namings. Egyptian Arabic is a variety of the Arabic languages of the Semitic branch of the Afroasiatic language family. It originated in the Nile Delta in Lower Egypt around the capital Cairo. Descended from the spoken Arabic which was brought to Egypt during the 7th century AD Muslim conquest, its development was influenced by the indigenous Coptic of pre-Islamic Egypt, and later by other languages such as Turkish, Ottoman Turkish, Italian, French and English. The 80 million Egyptians speak a continuum of dialects, among which Cairene is the most prominent. It is also understood across most of the Arabic-speaking countries due to the predominance of the Egyptian influence on the region as well as the Egyptian media, making it the most widely spoken and one of the most widely studied varieties of Arabic. While it is essentially a spoken language, it is encountered in written form in novels, plays, poems, as well as in comics, advertising, some newspapers, and transcriptions of popular songs. In most other written media and in television news reporting, literary Arabic is used. Literary Arabic is a standardized language based on the language of the Quran, that is Classical Arabic. The Egyptian vernacular is almost universally written in the Arabic alphabet for local consumption, although it is commonly transcribed into Latin letters or in the International Phonetic Alphabet in linguistics text and textbooks aimed at teaching non-native learners. Also, it is written in ASCII Latin alphabet mainly online and in SMSs. Naming: Egyptians know the dialect as the Egyptian colloquial language or Egyptian dialect. However, it is also named the modern Egyptian language. The terms Egyptian Arabic and Masri are usually used synonymously with Cairene Arabic, the dialect of the Egyptian capital. The country's native name, more to the first pound R, is used locally to refer to the capital Cairo itself. Similar to the role played by Parisian French, Egyptian Arabic is by far the most dominant in all areas of national life. Geographic distribution: Egyptian Arabic is spoken natively by more than 52 million Egyptians and as a second language by most of the remaining 24 million Egyptians in several regional dialects, as well as by immigrant Egyptian communities in the Middle East, Europe, North America, Latin America, Australia and Southeast Asia. Among the spoken varieties of Arabic, Standard Egyptian Arabic is the only one to have become a lingua franca in other parts of the Arabic-speaking world for two main reasons: the proliferation and popularity of Egyptian films and other media in the region since the early 20th century, and the great number of Egyptian teachers and professors who are instrumental in setting up the education systems of various countries in the Arabian Peninsula and who also taught there and in other countries such as Algeria and Libya. Also, many Lebanese artists choose to sing in Egyptian as well as Lebanese. History: the Egyptians slowly adopted the Arabic language as a written language following the Arab-Muslim conquest of Egypt in the 7th century AD. Up until then, they were speaking either Greek or Egyptian in its Coptic form. For more than 3 centuries, there existed a period of Coptic Arabic bilingualism in Lower Egypt. This trend would last for many more centuries in the south. Arabic may have been already familiar to Egyptians through pre-Islamic trade with Bedouin Arab tribes in the Sinai Peninsula, and the easternmost part of the Nile Delta. Egyptian Arabic seems to have begun taking shape in Fustat, the first Islamic capital of Egypt, and now part of modern-day Cairo. One of the earliest linguistic sketches of Egyptian Arabic is a 16th-century document entitled Darf al-Ear to the first pounder and Kala-em al-Mir to the first pounder by Yusuf al-Morabi. It contains key information on early Egyptian Arabic and the language situation in medieval Egypt. The main purpose of the document was to show that while the Egyptians' vernacular contained many critical errors vis-à-vis Classical Arabic, according to Morabi, it was also related to Arabic in other respects. With the ongoing Islamization and Arabization of the country, Egyptian Arabic slowly supplanted spoken Egyptian. Local chroniclers mention the continued use of Coptic Egyptian as a spoken language until the 17th century AD by peasant women in Upper Egypt. Coptic is still the liturgical language of the Egyptian Coptic Church. Official status: Egyptian Arabic has no official status, and is not officially recognized as a language. Standard Arabic, a modernized form of Classical Arabic, is the official language of Egypt. Interest in the local vernacular began in the 1800s, as the Egyptian national movement for self-determination was taking shape. Questions about the reform and modernization of Arabic came to the fore, and for many decades to follow they were hotly debated in Egyptian intellectual circles. Proposals ranged from developing neologisms to replace archaic terminology in Standard Arabic, to the simplification of syntactical and morphological rules and the introduction of colloquialisms, to complete Egyptianization by abandoning the so-called Standard Arabic in favor of Masri or Egyptian Arabic. Proponents of language reform in Egypt included Qasim Amin, who also wrote the first Egyptian feminist treatise, former president of the Egyptian University, Ahmed Lutfi el-Sayed, and noted intellectual Salama Musa. They adopted a modernist, secular approach and disagreed with the assumption that Arabic was an immutable language because of its association with the Quran. The first modern Egyptian novel in which the dialogue was written in the vernacular was Muhammad Hassan Hakel Zainab in 1913. It wasn't until 1966 that Mustafa Musharraf's Kantara Who Disbelieved was released, the first novel to be written entirely in Egyptian Arabic. Other notable novelists such as Ihsan Abdel Quddus and Yusuf Idris, and poets such as Salah Jahin, Ainudi and Fagumi, helped solidify vernacular literature as a distinct literary genre. Amongst certain groups within Egypt's elite, Egyptian Arabic enjoyed a brief period of rich literary output. This dwindled with the rise of Egyptian Arab nationalism, which had gained wide popularity in Egypt by the final years of the Egyptian and Sudanese monarchy, as demonstrated vividly by Egypt's involvement in the Arab-Israeli War of 1948 under King Farouk. The Egyptian Revolution of 1952, led by Mohammed Negoub and Gamal Abdel Nasser, further enhanced the significance of Arab nationalism, making it a central element of Egyptian state policy. The importance of Standard Arabic was re-emphasized in the public sphere by the revolutionary government, and efforts to accord any formal language status to the Egyptian vernacular were ignored. Egyptian Arabic was identified as a mere dialect, and one that was not even spoken universally in Egypt itself, with almost all of Upper Egypt speaking the Saidi dialect of Arabic. Though the revolutionary government heavily sponsored the use of the Egyptian vernacular in films, plays, television programs, and music, the pre-revolution use of Standard Arabic in official publications was retained. Linguistic commentators have noted the multifaceted approach of the Egyptian revolutionaries towards the Arabic language. Whereas Egypt's first president Mohammed Negoub exhibited a preference for using Standard Arabic in his public speeches, his successor Gamal Abdel Nasser was renowned for using the vernacular, and punctuating his speeches with traditional Egyptian words and expressions. Conversely, Standard Arabic was the norm for state news outlets, including newspapers, magazines, television, and radio. This was especially true of Egypt's national broadcasting company, the Arab Radio and Television Union, which was established with the intent of providing content for the entire Arab world, not merely Egypt, hence the need to broadcast in the standard rather than vernacular. The Voice of the Arabs radio station in particular had an audience from across the region, and the use of anything other than Standard Arabic was viewed as eminently incongruous. As the status of Egyptian Arabic vis-à-vis Classical Arabic can have such political and religious implications in Egypt, the question of whether Egyptian Arabic should be considered a dialect, or language can be a source of debate. In sociolinguistics, Egyptian Arabic can be seen as one of many distinct varieties which, despite arguably being languages on obstand grounds, are united by a common diasporic and literary Arabic. Spoken varieties in Egypt, Saidi Arabic is a separate variety in ethnologue.com and ISO 639-3 as well as in other sources, and the two varieties have limited mutual intelligibility. It carries little prestige nationally but continues to be widely spoken including in the north by rural migrants who have adapted partially to Egyptian Arabic. For example, the Saidi genitive exponent is usually replaced with Egyptian beta e, but the realization of as, e, is retained. Second and third generation migrants are monolingual in the Cairene variety, but maintain cultural and familial ties to the south. The traditional division between Lower and Upper Egypt and their respective differences go back to ancient times. Egyptians today commonly refer to the people of the north as Boryenawa and to those of the south as Ada the First Poundiada. The differences throughout Egypt, however, are more wide-ranging and do not neatly correspond to this simple division. There is a linguistic shift from the eastern to the western parts of the delta, and the varieties spoken from Dsa to El Minyu are further grouped into a Middle Egypt cluster. Despite these differences, there are features distinguishing all the Egyptian Arabic varieties of the Nile Valley from any other Arabic variety. Such features include reduction of long vowels in open and unstressed syllables, the postposition of demonstratives and interrogatives, the modal meaning of the imperfect, and the integration of the participle. The Western Egyptian Bedouin Arabic variety of the Western Desert differs from all other Arabic varieties in Egypt in that it linguistically forms part of the Maghribi group of varieties. The same was formerly true of the Egyptian form of Judeo-Arabic. Eastern Egyptian Bedouin Arabic is also distinct from Egyptian Arabic. Phonology. The phonology of Egyptian Arabic differs slightly from that of other varieties of the Arabic languages and has its own unique consonant and vowel inventories. Morphology. Nouns equals, in contrast to CA and MSA, nouns are not inflected for case and lack nunation. As all nouns take their pausal forms, singular words and broken plurals simply lose their case endings. In sound plurals and dual forms, where, in MSA, difference in case is present even in pausal forms, the genitive accusative form is the one preserved. Fixed expressions in the construct state beginning in Abu, often geographic names, retain their U in all cases. Plurals. Color defect nouns, a common set of nouns referring to colors, as well as a number of nouns referring to physical defects of various sorts, take a special inflectional pattern, as shown in the table. Note that only a small number of common colors inflect this way, E or yen more to the first red. E azzy blue. E arxa or to the first green. E aa to the first pound 4 to the first yellow. E abai or white. E aswed black. E asthma to the first brown-skinned, brunette. E florin eaa to the first blonde, E. The remaining colors are invariable, and mostly so-called Nisba adjectives derived from colored objects, bunny brown,